That was one of the most embarrassing, humiliating, no good, fire the coach, sell the team, cut the players' losses I've ever seen in my entire life. Don't trade the players because they don't deserve to stay employed. Cut the players so they can come get a job where I work. They do not deserve to be on NBA teams with the performance they just put forward. The Cleveland Cavaliers just lost to the New York Knicks by 37 points to lose the series in the Eastern Conference Finals. Their effort was terrible. They had clearly quit on their team. The coach is out here making ridiculous statements. I believe that Kenny Atkinson still thinks that the Cleveland Cavaliers won this series. And based on his analytics, they probably didn't lose by 37 points tonight. They probably only lost by 30. So kudos, Kenny Atkinson. Great stuff from you, bud. This was a terrible performance by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The way that they came out of this basketball game, they gave about 5 minutes of decent effort and then totally let go of the ropes. They gave up 13 fast break points to the New York Knicks in the first quarter, which is the most fast break points the Knicks had scored in a quarter all season long. They would miss a shot. No one would get back on defense. Jalen Brunson leaked out for the most wide open layup you've ever seen. Into the second quarter, the New York Knicks went on a 20-0 run. In the second half, the Knicks went on another 12-0 run. This was a disgusting performance by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I will get to the New York Knicks here in a few minutes because they deserve a lot of credit, but this is the last time we're going to be talking about the Cavs this season. So I want to spend a few minutes focusing on the end of this, abysmal conference finals. So the Cavs are down 3-0. And yes, no team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in the history of the NBA. You know that mentally. But if you are a great you're an NBA player, a professional athlete, you have to have some gosh dang pride. Have some pride for your city, for your profession, for your coaches, for your fellow teammates. What was this performance? How do you lose by... They were down by 40-something points in the fourth quarter. All the players are subbed out with about 8 minutes left in this game. I came down here to start setting up my equipment because they were down by so many points with 8 minutes left in the basketball game. They were all in this season. They traded a young player in Darius Garland who had struggled with injury issues, had not come through in the playoffs in the past, and they brought in an old 17th season James Harden, a player who... from the point they brought him in, the Cavs offense was really good. They had done some nice things, but had not been a big-time playoff performer. So you traded a young, valuable asset in Darius Garland, a player that at the very least you could have got some good draft picks for, or, a couple assets here or there by some team that really needs a point guard, the Houston Rockets or someone like that needs a point guard. But instead you trade him for an older player because you believe that this is your season and your opportunity to win a championship or at least make the NBA Finals. At least don't get swept in the Eastern Conference Finals with no pride. And listen, the New York Knicks are clearly better than the Cleveland Cavaliers. That is not the point. The point is the effort and the way that they played. The Knicks are better. But again, have some pride if you are the Cleveland Cavaliers. You should not be down by 40-something points in a closeout game at home with so many Knicks fans in the stadium. All the famous, people that come to Knicks games, Timothy Chalamet, Ben Stiller, Fat Joe, all these, Spike Lee, all these guys are sitting courtside in Cleveland, absolutely wiping the floor with your terrible team. And no one came to play tonight. Donovan Mitchell did a little bit on the offensive end of the court, but defensively, the Cavs were so bad. They gave up 130 points. They got smoked in every single quarter of this basketball game. And I am just so disgusted because the Cleveland is getting a WNBA team here in the next couple years. It's been officially announced. You could go to the local high school, find 5 of the female players on the local high school basketball team, and they would have grossly outperformed this Cleveland Cavaliers team today because they would have cared just a little bit. They would have had a little pride in what they do. The Cleveland Cavaliers had clearly moved on, booked their tickets for Cancun or wherever they're headed in the offseason, and I am just disgusted. You look at this team, they have so much talent. They have 4 All-Stars in their starting lineup, players who have made All-Star games in the past. Defensive Player of the Year in Evan Mobley from last season. Donovan Mitchell, who we know is an All-Star, All-NBA level player. James Harden, yes, he's older, but All-Star, All-NBA level player in his career. And Jarett Allen has made All-Star games. This team should never be down 40-something points at home in a must-win game. And you could tell how quickly they just gave it up. They gave it up. They are now at the point where they have to blow it up. Kenny Atkinson, someone who I had kind of defended for the way he went out in Brooklyn, I didn't think was really fair. And, he got another opportunity here with the Cavs, and it felt like, he was doing some nice things with his organization. They had a little bit of a flame out last year in the playoffs, but they were dealing with injuries, guys out of the lineup. So it's a little tough to judge them on that. But this year they were fully healthy, fully loaded, and they got embarrassed. He got so outcoached by Mike Brown. In game 1, the Cavs were up, I believe it was 23 points, if memory serves me correct, with a little over 7 minutes left. And when they blew that lead, I got on my channel and said that I believe the Cavs are probably going to get swept because they have no mental toughness. It's one of the least mentally tough teams I've ever seen in my entire life that consists of good basketball players. And yes, James Harden is someone that I've defended for the fact that I thought the Cavs were going to make the Eastern Conference Finals this year, but I didn't think they'd make the NBA Finals. So I thought, they'd be good enough and Harden would be good enough to get them to the conference finals. But man, his performance in the conference finals was terrible. And it further pushes all these narratives that surround him. And at some point, you expected the man to break through. Give us one big moment in a big series to keep your team alive and give your team a chance to go to the NBA Finals. And he was not having it. Donovan Mitchell had 31 points tonight. He came out really aggressive and felt like he was of the mindset he wasn't going down swinging. On the bench, there was a video floating around of Donovan Mitchell yelling at all his teammates, trying to get them hyped up for the game, or not for the game, but at some point during the game. And you can see all his teammates just sitting down with their heads down while Donovan Mitchell's trying to deliver this speech. This team had no faith that they could win this basketball game. And Kenny Atkinson, to me, is the main reason. His analytic comment was disgusting. If you didn't see it, Kenny Atkinson said that based on the analytics and the expected score, the Cavs actually have won 2 of 3 games. And that is something that you absolutely cannot say publicly. The whole point he's trying to make, I believe, is just saying that we're playing the right way, we're getting good shots, whatever. But you cannot say it publicly in the way that he said it. And then he was delivering a pregame speech. He's sitting down, leaned back, delivering his pregame speech. You watch the difference between the San Antonio Spurs coach Mitch Johnson last night against the Oklahoma City Thunder, when early in that basketball game, he was hyping his players up. He was coaching his team. He was pulling players aside, Carter Bryant, getting into them, and doing what a coach should do. Kenny Atkinson clearly knew they were going to lose tonight and had no faith in it. I would fire Kenny Atkinson tomorrow. Yes, he got you to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yes, you beat the 1 seed in the Detroit Pistons. But this team is far too talented, and the performance of being up 23 points in Game 1 and using no timeouts while the Knicks went on like a 19-1 run or an 18-1 run or whatever it was, using 0 timeouts in that stretch is disgusting. It is a terrible coaching performance, and Kenny Atkinson has to wear this one. You have to figure out what you're doing with your 2 big men, because the Mobley-Allen experiment is over, in my opinion. Jarett Allen gave you 5 points, 3 rebounds tonight in 26 minutes. Evan Mobley had 15 and 7. He wasn't too bad, I guess. But it just creates too many issues when you got 2 bigs that can't really shoot. They're terrible. Evan Mobley from the free throw line has to, all summer, I want him to just sit at the free throw line and practice those things. Because the fact that he shoots in the 60s for percentage of free throws is outrageous. That is a terrible percentage by a guy that should be an okay shooter. He is not a traditional center. So you have to be able to shoot a free throw. I'm just so disgusted by this Cavs team. The way that they got an absolutely disgusting performance from, Max Strus, 5 points, 2 of 6 shooting. Their wings were just terrible. Jalen Tyson was playing a ton. 1 of 6, wasn't ready for the moment. Sam Merrill was terrible all series long, it felt like. And then Dean Wade could not hit a shot. He only shot 1 tonight, but felt like when you have a bunch of white guys on the court, they have to be able to shoot because they're providing nothing else for you. So Dean Wade and Sam Merrill shooting the way they did in this series is disgusting. You can't win basketball games with the way that these guys were playing. And it's time for the Cavs to blow it up. You're way over the first apron. They were in the second apron. That's part of the reason they made some of the moves they did. But it's just time to blow it up. Whether that means trading Donovan Mitchell and getting a ton of assets, whether it means trading Evan Mobley, a guy who I've been very high on. It is time to move on and figure out where you're headed in the future. Because as currently constructed, this team has no chance. No chance. They have no mental toughness. They have no leader. And there's so much talk about, is LeBron James going to return to Cleveland? I hope the heck not, because LeBron, why would you want to play for this team? They're not a 43-year-old LeBron James away from winning a title. They weren't even close in this series. The Knicks totally outperformed them. That's all we're going to talk about with the Cavs. The New York Knicks side of this, they have been a wagon. They have the best 11-game stretch of all time, regular or postseason, as far as point differential. They've won 11 games in a row. The last time they lost, I believe, was April 23rd. It is currently May 25th. They're going to go into the NBA Finals against the Spurs or the Thunder so well rested, coming off back-to-back sweeps. And, that series is probably going to go 7 games in the Western Conference. So if you're the Knicks, you have to feel fantastic. And there was so much criticism when they fired Tom Thibodeau. Obviously, we know Tibbs was he's been a successful coach in the NBA. He's never been successful at the highest level, but we know he's a good coach. You get rid of a coach like that, and you bring in Mike Brown, a guy who has coached at a few different stops. We know he coached in Cleveland, Sacramento, and a guy who's been around the league a little bit. But he has done such an excellent job with the way that he has his players playing. And they seem so fresh. They play off of each other really well. The development by Karl-Anthony Towns has been incredible. I imagine the Minnesota Timberwolves really could have used a player like Karl-Anthony Towns tonight, in their series instead of Julius Randle. But Karl-Anthony Towns, his ability to pass the basketball, make big shots. I thought he defended really well. Tonight he had 19 points, 14 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Just an awesome performance from Karl-Anthony Towns. You have your superstar in Jalen Brunson, who didn't even have to do that much tonight. He had 15 and 5. But because they have so much talent on this roster, probably the best starting 5 in the entire NBA, they're just a wagon. And they're going to be really hard to beat in the NBA Finals, especially because those two teams that are playing right now seem to be pretty banged up. We see the Spurs have De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper battling injuries. And on the Thunder side, J-Dub and A.J. Mitchell they missed last game. So, and there's still, potentially 3 more hard-fought games on every other night. So the Knicks should feel very good about where they are. And if you're a Knicks fan, I'd be very excited. I mean, the Cavs had Landry Shamet looking like the second coming of Steph Curry. The guy hit 4 3-pointers, and then, not that Steph does this, but then Landry Shamet drove to the basket and and jammed it home. This guy was dominating the basketball game. He was really good in the series. Landry Shamet is one of those guys that just feels like he hits big shots, and he is the exact opposite of what Dean Wade, Sam Merrill, Jalen Tyson are providing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, that it felt like they shrunk in those big moments. Landry Shamet feels like he's able to hit big shots and rise to the occasion. The Knicks, they're really deep. Their top 5 players are excellent. You got to feel like there's been so much criticism again about the Mikal Bridges trade and all they gave up for that. But at this point, you got to feel like it's a success. You make the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999, and you absolutely have a chance to win it. Yes, those two Western Conference teams are really good. They're really good, and they're in a dogfight over there. But the New York Knicks are really good too. They're playing some of the best basketball we've ever seen, in a month stretch. And they had a weird stretch in the middle of the season where they went like 2-9 for a month. But other than that, they have been excellent all season long. I can't wait to watch the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. They absolutely deserve to be there. They played great basketball through the Eastern Conference. My criticisms of the Cavs are in no way demeaning to the New York Knicks. I am purely talking about the way in which the Cavs went out and their effort and their want and their desire to win that series. That is all we got for you tonight. We will try to do an NBA Finals preview. We'll see, who makes it out of the Western Conference. And at a later date, I'll decide who I will be picking in that series. But again, Cavs, time to blow it up. Appreciate y'all watching. We just passed 1,400 subscribers, so if you would subscribe, if you love the NBA, it would be greatly appreciated. Saborgal.